was having a hard time remembering something because I wanted to do this about somebody that I hadn't dated, and the most vivid memories I have of clicking with somebody are people I was attracted to and ended up dating or wanted to. And so I was beginning to remember a lot of different things, but one of them that just particularly jumps out to me is when I was about 26 or so, and I was working in Chicago. I was working for Shorebank Corporation in South Shore, and we were working for this community development corporation running a social enterprise that worked with teenagers from the inner city of Chicago, from the neighborhood of South Shore, to bring them in the door with free art lessons, teach them about how to run a business by basically inviting them to become the design talent in a little design company where they would create custom artwork and sell it to corporations in the form of T-shirts that had the artwork on it, and we would outsource the mass production of the T-shirt design onto the T-shirts and whatnot. And the purpose of this was to help these kids get a feel for what it was like to make money, be part of a team, be creative, and understand how to sell and run a business, so that they began to get a sense of the power of their own imaginations and their own self-worth and their ability to make things happen. And potentially their interest in college and in learning generally would be piqued. So anyway, this community development corporation was headed at the time by a guy named Craig Lewis, who was a reverend, and his wife I had never met before, but we had a little holiday party at Studio Air, which this thing was called, this business, and one of the people who came was her. And I remember, I was like one of the few white people in this business or in the room, and she was African American. She was probably close to 50. She'd raised her children, had lived a very different life, I think, than I had. I'd grown up in Colorado in the suburbs, and anyway, so I just remember having this incredibly clear moment meeting her, which I feel sort of, as I'm recalling it, I'm sort of getting choked up about it because it was so poignant to me at the time. Just sort of exchanging a few words with her. I don't even remember what we said. I had this very, very clear experience that when she was looking at me, she was seeing me kind of as a human being instead of as a white woman or as I don't know, a blonde or a yuppie or like a college, ivory tower kind of person, or as an authority, sort of a teacher kind of person, which were all roles that I think the other people in this space, or even seeing me as a trainee or something, because I was in that sort of relationship to all these different people, all these African American teenagers from this poor neighborhood. My coworker, who was a Latino guy who had grown up in the another neighborhood of Chicago where he had dropped out of high school and sort of been in gangs and had lived a very tough life. And my coworker, also the other coworker who was there, was white, and then there was another African American older woman who was my supervisor. And I just think that it was, and I had also lived in Mississippi for a couple of years before that, and I was working in, I was in social work school at the time, and I don't know what it was. It was just this really, really vivid experience of this woman who was pretty cool. Like there was something about her that was very appealing to me, and I think she had a lot of charisma. I think I was certainly not the only person who felt this way, but there was just something about her. When she looked at me, I had this very clear feeling like I hadn't sort of connected with somebody in the same way since I was like in first grade, from the standpoint of sort of being seen as a human being without judgment and with a kind of affection, or like an open-heartedness. And I think that she was conscious of that somehow, like that was something that she knew was how she saw people somehow. I didn't talk with her about this at the time. Like these were all just thoughts that were going through my head at the time, but I just remember having this super powerful feeling when she was talking with me, of just like how refreshing it was to be seen as a person, as a just, a human being. And it was very special. It was really cool. I don't think I ever saw her again.